opponent and fight the judges. It's something we got to do about it. It's something we got to do about it. I think I won, and I think I definitely outboxed them. All I need is an even playing field. That's all. I'm gonna come out there and show my skills. I'm gonna show my grit, my will, everything else. And not to mention, I think I broke my hand in like the 5th round or something like that. So.
If we have questions for Lamont, Roach, raise your hand.
Tony also knows boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Subscribe to the channel. Tony also knows boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Yes. Boxing. The shenanigans of boxing. Again. Wow. We had a card that was it was a decent card. We had Jesus Ramos won by unanimous decision against Shane Mosley Jr., his son. I think he needs to work on his defense, and I don't think that he has any special effects, but he's a tough competitor, and he's an exciting fighter. But I would like to see him use the jab more, and he would have made the fight a lot easier than he could have, because Shane Mosley Jr. came back every once in a while. Like, he would fight, he would get pretty much out hustled by Jesus Ramos, but just when you thought that Shane Mosley was finished, he would come back with some flurries. Shane Mosley's son, Jr. I expected more from Jesus Ramos. I liked the way he performed against Erickson Lubin. I thought he won the fight, but they didn't give the fight to Jesus Ramos. They gave it to Erickson Lubin. Yeah, that fight was, I expected more from Jesus Ramos. And Oshiki Foster won by dominant unanimous decision against Stephen Fulton. And he did what he had to do. And he actually pummeled Stephen Fulton. And I thought it was going to be a more competitive fight, but I think Oshiki Foster was just too much for him. But he performed good. He pretty much dominated him, and I like what I saw. I'm not a fan of Oshiki Foster, but I think Oshiki Foster is he's a good champion. I think I need to see more from him. And Lara fight was replaced by Johan Gonzalez, and Johan Gonzalez was 33 years old. I wasn't too impressed with that fight. I think he did what he had to do. Erislandy Lara, it was I think he knocked him down in the 1st round and the 12th round, but the majority of the fight was boring, and it left a lot to be desired. And those are the kind of fights that Erislandy Lara fights. He's a very technical boxer, and he did what he was supposed to do, and he's still fighting. I think he's 40 years old, and he's still fighting. And he's still a champion at 40 years old. So you got to give him credit for that. And I heard that Crawford Bomack, his trainer, Terrence Crawford's trainer said that he would like to get the fight with Erislandy Lara, and he believes that Erislandy Lara will be a really good fight. He's one of the best boxers out there, he said, and he beat Canelo, and he'll give anybody trouble. And Bomack really had a lot of high praise for, Bomack, Terrence Crawford's trainer, had a lot of praise for Erislandy Lara. I think that, it's just a fight that he's going to get for the championship, and I believe that he's probably overhyping it because, who else is he going to fight? There's other people that he could fight, but Benavidez is not going to fight. He's not going to fight. I don't think Terrence Crawford is going to fight him. So he's just making the fight look bigger than what it is. And yes, he is talented, Erislandy Lara, but I'm not too excited about seeing a fight like that. I know how it's going to go. I know that Terrence Crawford is going to win in dominant fashion if they fight. And I don't know. I just feel like there's levels. And yes, the fight with Pitbull Cruz versus Lamont Roach is, like I said in the beginning, in the first 4 rounds, Pitbull Cruz was going to dominate. I said it in my previous video that I didn't say dominate, but I did say that Pitbull Cruz was going to be strong from the very beginning, maybe the first 4 rounds. Not exactly in those words, but I said that Pitbull Cruz is gonna be tough for Lamont Roach in the first 4 rounds, the first beginning part, the first half of the fight. That's what I said in my previous video. But the knockdown, it was a legitimate knockdown, and based on what Lamont Roach said, he hurt his right hand in the 5th round, and I believe he's telling the truth because I saw his hand was swollen, and I saw it in the post fight press conference. His hand did look swollen, and he did hurt his hand in the 5th round. So I believe that in spite of the knockdown, which Pitbull Cruz really impressed me with his speed. I didn't think he was that fast. He was pretty fast, and he didn't know how to deal with the boxing ability of Lamont Roach. If you look at it, he changed his whole strategy, and instead of going forward towards like the end, the last part of the fight, he started moving and trying to get away, but he wasn't being effective because he knew that going forward, Lamont Roach was able to capitalize on the mistakes that he made. Even though he did look impressive in knocking down, Lamont Roach, I don't think he did enough to win the fight, and I think that Lamont Roach should have gotten the victory, at least by 3 points. And I believe that Lamont Roach was robbed, and it was a draw unjustly. And it's the second time they do that. And I believe that the reason why they do these things is because Pitbull Cruz has a strong following, and he's the commodity between both of them. And I believe that boxing is a business, and the interim WBC Pitbull Cruz remains the interim WBC champion, and now we're stuck with getting a rematch between both of them, and I believe they will get a rematch between both of them. But I think that Lamont Roach was unjustly robbed, and this is the second time that this has been done to him. And interesting fact, I didn't know that Lamont Roach was knocked down for the very first time last night against Pitbull Cruz in the 3rd round. I didn't know that was his first knockdown. So kudos to Pitbull Cruz. He made a good account of himself, but I do believe that he's not a boxer. He's a slugger, and the reason why Pitbull Cruz got the draw, or they both got the draw with each other, is because Lamont Roach hurt his hand, broke his hand in the 5th round. Because if he was able to win and with one hand, in spite of him getting knocked down, imagine if he had 2 hands, how he would have looked. So I say Lamont Roach, if all goes well, his hand heals, and the rematch goes through between Pitbull Cruz and Lamont Roach, I believe that Lamont Roach will actually win in more impressive fashion, and it won't be such a close fight like it was last night. And I do believe that the fact that he hurt his hand, that he broke his hand, made the difference, and I believe he still was winning the fight from the 5th round and on. He was winning the fight. Lamont Roach, Pitbull Cruz had his moments at the very end, but not enough to actually to go home with the victory or get a draw. I think that Lamont Roach did more than enough to actually win the fight, and it was a good competitive fight. And like I said, in the early rounds, Pitbull Cruz was gonna give him a hard time, which he did. And I don't know if Lamont Roach is being honest by saying that he was comfortable fighting like that. That Pitbull Cruz, he chose to fight him, inside and actually use angles as well. I don't know. Maybe Pitbull Cruz did cut the ring and make Lamont Roach fight like that, or it could have been that he wanted Lamont Roach wanted to fight like that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Bruce M. Vane, 41-48. I didn't watch the fight yet, so they robbed him, huh? I think so. I think they robbed Lamont Roach It's all about business. Who's the commodity? Who's the name fighter? And Pitbull Cruz has a lot of fans. He has like 1 million followers, I think, on his Instagram, and he has a lot of followers. So, when it comes to boxing business, that's what they do. They do people dirty like that, especially if you're not the name fighter. And in this case, Lamont Roach is making a name for himself. Of course, I think he won against Tank Davis and Pitbull Cruz, but in this fight, Pitbull Cruz actually did better than actually Tank Davis. He was able to put him down. But I still think, in spite of the knockdown, I think Lamont Roach did enough to win the fight. He was actually using his boxing skills, but he stayed in the pocket a little too much. But I feel that he still won in spite of Pitbull Cruz having his moments in the fight. But I think the fact that he broke his hand in the 5th round, his right hand, Lamont Roach, I think that made the huge difference in the way he could have boxed and the way he could have landed more shots if his hand was completely not broken. So yeah, that's what's going down. Yeah, subscribe to the channel. Tony also knows boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Subscribe to the channel. Lamont Roach broke his hand in the 5th round. Pitbull Cruz knocked him down in the 3rd round, and this was the first time that Lamont Roach has ever been down in his career, which is give credit to Pitbull Cruz. And Lamont Roach disrupted Pitbull Cruz because if you notice, you can tell by the way Pitbull Cruz started skating around the ring. Those are the words that Lamont Roach used, trying to change his game plan, waiting and moving and sticking his tongue out, and he wasn't really that's out of character. That's out of his character. He doesn't fight like that. He comes forward. So I believe that Lamont Roach made him uncomfortable going forward because Lamont Roach was using the angles, and so he tried to move and see if he could do something different. I think because he was frustrated. But that's not what Pitbull Cruz said. Pitbull Cruz was saying that that he wanted to show everybody that he could box as well and prove people wrong. And Lamont Roach said that that he was hitting him low. And Pitbull Cruz was saying that the referee was favoring. Oh wow, it's thundering. Tony also knows boxing. Subscribe to the channel. You're tuning into my channel. You hear the thundering in the background. Yes, let me finish this video before something goes down with the Wi-Fi. But yeah, I believe Pitbull Cruz was saying that they were favoring him in Texas. They were favoring I don't know why they were favoring him in Texas. There was more Mexicans than African Americans, or more people were rooting for Pitbull Cruz. And he said the referee. He said the referee. How you doing, Christoph M3P? Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Subscribe to my channel. Tony also knows boxing. You're tuning into my channel. What do you mean he got robbed? I believe that he used his boxing skills and he won most of the rounds to actually deserve the nod and get the win over Pitbull Cruz. Pitbull Cruz, in spite of him knocking him down in the 3rd round, I don't think he did enough to garner a win or a draw. I think that they should have gave the fight to Lamont Roach by at least 3 points. At least 3 points. It was competitive. Yeah, but Pitbull Cruz was saying that the referee was favoring Lamont Roach and allowing him to hit Pitbull Cruz behind the head. And Pitbull Cruz showed the little lump behind his head. And yeah, but at the same time, Pitbull Cruz was hitting low when they were fighting inside, and he was holding a lot. That's another thing that lets you know that Lamont Roach was actually being effective, because he was actually holding a lot inside of Pitbull Cruz. So yeah, that's the reason why. Those are other signs that he was having trouble with Lamont Roach when he fought on the inside. He was using a lot of angles, and then he started holding on Pitbull Cruz. And Pitbull Cruz was saying that the referee was favoring Lamont Roach, and then Lamont Roach said that I don't see how the referee was favoring me when the referee allowed Pitbull Cruz to hit me low blows and hit me low constantly. And then Pitbull Cruz looked at him and said, "Look at my eye. That was a punch. That was low blow." And he said, "No, that was a punch." Lamont Roach said that was a punch. So anyway, they were going back and forth, but they showed respect to each other. And they actually hugged each other and said that they would fight each other again in the rematch. That they're not Tank Davis. That they're gonna actually not avoid a rematch and actually do a rematch immediately. That's what they both said. Subscribe to the channel. Tony also knows boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Yes. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Brucem F Vane 4148. Thanks for tuning in, my brother. Thanks for your comments. Chris Off M3P. I appreciate you for tuning in, my brother. Subscribe to the channel. Tony also knows boxing. That's all I got for now. I think that Lamont Roach was robbed. He should have got the victory in spite of Pitbull Cruz getting a knockdown. I don't think Pitbull Cruz did enough to win, but I think in the rematch, if they get the rematch done and they negotiate it and get the fight established, I believe that Lamont Roach will win with two hands more convincingly, and I think he would dominate, have a more dominant performance. It won't be as competitive as it was this time around. The next time they fight each other. So, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments who you think won the fight, and what do you think about what happened, all the shenanigans, with his hands and Pitbull Cruz hitting low and Lamont Roach hitting behind the head. What do you guys think about all that? Let me know in the comments who do you think won and who do you think will win in the rematch and why in the comments, and let me know. I think that Lamont Roach will actually win in more impressive fashion the next time around because he already knows how Tank Davis fights. And the thing is, I think a lot of it was the fact that he broke his hand, his right hand, Lamont Roach. I think that's the reason why that it was a draw, and he could have made it more of a convincing, dominant performance if he would have had both hands, Lamont Roach, that is. And yes, subscribe to the channel. Tony also knows boxing. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the year's over, and I'm doing a countdown to 1,000 subscribers. That'll be my victory before the year's over. I'm going to do a countdown to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm going to Puerto Rico, and I'm going to continue the countdown. This month, I go to Puerto Rico, and I'm going to possibly get together with the boxers that I interviewed in my video. And there's a lot of interviews that I have with Yanquiel Rivera, that I interviewed the boxing prospects from Puerto Rico that are going to be champions: Stephanie Piñero, Abisael Cotto, Yanquiel Rivera, Joey Borrero, Malik Quiñones, and so on. So I have those interviews. You can check them out in the video section of my channel, my YouTube channel. Tony also knows boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Subscribe to that channel. Don't be afraid to click the like button and subscribe to my channel. Only the brave and the intelligent click to Tony also knows boxing and like Tony also knows boxing. Yes, subscribe to the channel. Tony also knows boxing. Peace.